Welcome everybody to Tech60. This is a special session covering the content we delivered in Stockholm last week. A quick recap of what we did and what we showed in the live seminar. Nowadays, when you have something happening in the agent log, if you go to the agent and agent logs, you can see that if you select any machine, like this one, for example, you can see that you have a new symbol when you are looking at agent event logs from the, for instance, applications. You can see that you have a new icon here. Click on this icon will open up a box. You can do it like this. This will actually create a new event set filter for that actual event log. So in a couple of quick steps, you can create a new event filter. Like this. And apply it to this machine, to this current machine that you are creating the event log on. And maybe generate an alarm for that specific event in the future. Apply. You can also select the same, new event set filter, the same, next, but also maybe add to an existing event set. Maybe Martin's test could be the one that this specific event will be added to. A very quick and easy way to create new event sets and slowly build upon current event sets you have. This menu here can be accessed via agent logs, but also if you are connecting via Live Connect. If you go into Live Connect, the event viewer, and take a look here, you have the exact same values here, exact same icons. If I click on this machine, on this event log, this will be shown, so that I can create a new filter in the exact same way from here. Also, if you take a look at the task manager, you can see that you have the same icon over here. So maybe I would like to monitor the possible event of acro or reader crashing or not, or stop working, so to say. It has to be on all the time in this case. Another feature we have in Live Connect when we are already there is to take a look at a Mac-specific feature. I have now connected to our marketing machine inside Upstream, and as you can see here, I have a terminal replacing the command line features you have in Windows, so you can actually edit a terminal session within the Mac. If you take a look at the event alerts in general, creating event alerts has moved to the root of agent monitoring. Event log alerts is the same as before. No changes here, but only the positioning of the actual component has changed, where it is. It's much easier to access this way than the old way. One thing also to highlight is the possibility to set default settings for the agent procedures. As you can see here, if you go to System, Default Settings, and Default Value for Time on Scheduler, you can set a specific schedule in the agent time zone. This will indicate that all the agent procedures running on any machine will run on the specific agent current time zone. So if I would like to have a certain kind of script deployed on any machine, I can specify time zone features. As you can see, This is now checked as a default depending on the settings I did under the server settings. So that covers the features that are probably new to some and old to others. The next thing we did was showing off a couple of procedures to slowly go on to the features in software deployment. And this module is actually quite new. It's just a couple of weeks old. And this will slowly take hold of your application deployment. Now we are delivering scripts to you guys from the Upstream Power Pack. You can deploy Java, Adobe Reader and stuff like that. But it's always a manual task to update those scripts, to get the registry hives correct, to get the criteria correct, the silent deploy switches correct, and so on. It's a manual labor, even though it's automatic out to the customer. With the software deployment module, this will be erased. Actually, some of you already are using the Ninite software. Ninite or Ninite is actually a deployment application for many softwares. The whole idea with Ninite is to automate the whole procedure of deploying with just one command line. And this is something Kaseya now has as an OEM product within this software and deployment module. Much like patch management, this module is slowly growing to be the auto update feature, so to speak. So you can manually approve an application to always be updated with the latest version. And you can create routines to scan the machines for any current version and upgrade that version if needed, even in different kind of languages. The whole idea is to create a catalog, a master catalog for you guys in your environment, depending on several components. You can drag and drop applications from the master catalog in the cloud. That's something that Kaseya is maintaining. You can, of course, create your own custom installer, as in MSI packages and so on. So you can add your own specific software within this framework. And with all of these, it will create a software catalog that you can apply to a policy. You configure a profile for a machine with the current application set you would like to have, assign the profile to a machine, and install the software, both as a scheduled basis and also as a deploy now feature, much like in the agent procedures. Then you do remediation. You check that scan machines, much like in the patch management, scan for current missing patches. You can scan the machines for current missing updates and also make an automatic approval of that. You can take a look at, for instance, the catalog itself is the most important part here. You have on the right side, you have the master catalog with all the softwares from Ninite in this case. Could be also in the future development other master catalogs out on the cloud. You drag and drop what version you would like to have inside of your network. I did a mistake here. I must tell you, warn you not to do that. Don't drag the whole content into the root software catalog. Otherwise, it can look like this. I have to remove all those. So it's a manual labor here. So the software catalog here is what you're deploying from. This is what you're getting the applications from to deploy. Of course, you can add your own Windows installer if you like. In this case, it's much like the old-time scripting you do with agent procedures. You have a standard name of the package. You have a version string. You have the ability to upload an MSI file, an exe file. You have the arguments to add, maybe silent, no restart. And you have a mark for reboot required or not. But you also have the ability to add criteria, for example, to check if there are criteria for upgrading this. Is there any file at a certain kind of version? Is there registry value in certain kind of version to approve the package to be deployed? This item here, as in scan item, will be used when we are scanning the current machine for available versions. In future releases, this deployment module will also be integrated within the policy engine we have. We also covered a couple of just explaining the policy management and why you should use it. The policy management itself was released a couple of months ago, I think. It has really matured. A couple of hotfixes have been removing some annoying issues, and now it's ready for usage. So please use the policy management. And the whole idea about creating policies in Kaseya is to maintain a service level agreement to your customers. By utilizing the policies, you can assure that you don't need to create any more copy settings to the machines. And that's mostly a manual labor, so it's quite annoying to have that copy settings manual task to do. So please use the policies. And I have a tip here to actually, maybe it's a workaround perhaps, but as you know, since previous Tech60s, we have a feature like a policy is always tied to a view. A policy is always tied to a view. And by that, we cannot make a policy apply to every machine with, for example, no view. But I have a tip here for you guys to add. This is actually something deployed in the Power Pack. The Power Pack will be released this Friday with new applications in form of Java and a couple of other applications. And also some extras as well. People are asking for specific applications, so I have added those as an extra folder. But the tip here can be to create a view that show all the agents, called all agents, equal to no view in this case. By that, you can assure that this policy, the level 1 in this case, will apply to all the machines, no matter if there are a server, a workstation, Windows 7, or anything actually. So this policy, actually what it does is only getting the agent menu up and running, and in this case auto deploy live connect every 1 week if there are a new version of that. That's all. Yeah, sorry, alerting. It alerts if the machine has been offline 14 days also. That's a feature you can take a look at, to alert if the machine has not checked in for 14 days. It shouldn't be a problem. Maybe the machine has been offline, but sometimes you have plenty of work doing afterwards if the machine has not checked in. So we covered the policy management briefly, just talked about the different levels. People are asking about which kind of policy is the highest, so to speak. So if we assign a policy to an organization, it will always run from the root of the organization up to the subfolders of the organization. So take a look at this. If you have an organization example like this, we have the level 0. In this case, it was only showing the agent and adding an alert for 14 days of non-connection of the agent. The features are set like this. If there are one option, it will always be the last one in the row here that are the one the policy manager will follow. In this case, the agent menu, if it's set or not, if it's online, if it's visible, it will be visible in this policy. But if I add another policy down here in the row that actually disables the agent, it will be disabled. That policy will be the one that the system will follow. But if you have monitor sets, for instance, if you have multiple settings for one setting, it will actually add everything. In this case, if we have servers, take a look at the policies in servers. We have, for instance, this one. As you can see here, we have a couple of features like monitor sets here for that server, specific monitor sets for servers. But we also have an exchange server policy up here on the basic server rows, which are adding monitor sets. What will happen here is, even though we have this server set to apply a couple of disk monitors and so on, this policy will actually add more features depending on it is an exchange server. So it will not remove the monitor sets that are set up here. It will only add the features the exchange policy will give the policy manager. So this is how you can build up from the root, from a ground zero, so to speak, a service level agreement for servers and add features for any kind of system you have. For instance, Citrix servers, backup XX servers, terminal servers, and so on. So you can create your own service levels by that. So that was very much welcomed, this explaining the policies once more. And my straight answer to people asking, should we use policies, is of course yes. This is a life and a time saver when it comes to management in Kaseya. The agent's copy-paste settings was actually a pain. It was mostly attached to a manual labor that someone had to do, and you don't always follow the book, so maybe someone forgot to actually copy the settings for a certain kind of service level. The last one we covered was mobile device management, and this is something you have seen before in Tech60 webinars, but just a quick recap of what we are with the mobile device management. We have an agent for iTunes and Android market. The agent will be a manual install. In this case, you have to access App Store, you have to access Android market, and you have to have an account to install. And when the agent has been installed with a server ID number, it's good to go. The agent will connect, and you will see the agent online like this. With this kind of management for mobile devices, we can, for instance, take a look at the general information about the iOS, the general information about the Android in this case. And also, as you can see, there are no difference from iOS as an iPad as in iOS as in an iPhone. You can browse around the content. You can see we have several different versions here. Some are on 5.0 and some are not. We have information about the free disk space for the moment. We have information about which carrier are running the device. We have also a list of applications. Many are asking about the ability to deploy applications, and I must say that's nothing Kaseya can do anything about at the moment, because there are no actual features to deploy applications other than homebrewed internal enterprise applications. But there will be when iTunes will open up for enterprise accounts the ability to deploy applications. But that's nothing I can answer for in terms of Kaseya when it will be supported. Anyhow, you have full control of the device as it is by standard. You can create your profiles. You can create, for instance, security profiles for forcing the mobile device to have PIN codes. You can deploy Wi-Fi. You can set up email setting, bulk email settings, or individual email settings if you wish. You can, of course, enable and disable features, much like removing the camera, removing the App Store in general, and so on. With this, of course, there are reports attached, so you can create nice reports of the current devices. And you have the ability to both locate and track devices. Locate devices will bring you a visual for, in this case, Kim, a colleague of mine here, has traveled from Stockholm yesterday to Gothenburg, and here you can see he went to Arlanda, he turned off his phone, he went to Gothenburg airport, turned on his phone, and went to where he is at the moment. So you have tracking capabilities, you have get positioning capabilities. You can also mark devices as lost or stolen, and in this case maybe sound alarm on that device, wipe the whole device, or just lock the device. And of course send message to the device. The app itself is running as in a push mode, so you can push command to that application if it runs as latent in the current taskbar on the iPhone, for instance. You can of course set how often you should make a check-in, as a check-in from the agent, so to speak. In Kaseya terms, we have 30 seconds check-in period on the Windows agents, but in mobile devices there are another time frame. Maybe you could add once a day, once every 2 days, depending on what you should do. It's all depending on the battery as well. You can of course force the phone itself only to check in when it has Wi-Fi connections, if you like. And then you can lower the count, as we have here. So that's basically it, what we did, and it was a fun event. We also had a question and answers afterwards, but unfortunately I did not take any notes about those questions, so we can actually have our own questions and answers in Tech60 in the future.